What's up, rebels? It's unapologetic, like this shit don't come to play, okay? And today it's gonna be a real serious video. I know I've been saying, oh, I'm gonna be more consistent. But a girl got a lot of freaking hats to wear, so I'm true, and I'm going through my little Saturn return. I spoke about it before on Facebook, but I never really touched on it too much. But yeah, my Saturn return, I'm going through my Saturn return, and it's getting my ass. I'll tell you that right now. It is getting my ass. When I say A-Town stomp, yeah, A-Town stomp my ass. Okay, so by the title, as you can see, the time that I predicted my grandfather's passing. And I've been meaning to do this video for a very long time, since January, which is the 1 year since he's been gone. And I've just been battling with myself, honestly. And I just feel like I've been holding myself back when it comes to doing this video. And that's what my Saturn return is really about. Really getting into my projects, really getting into what I'm supposed to be doing, getting into my routines and incorporating everything that is a priority to me. And I just feel like right now, God is just putting on my heart to just put myself out there more, express my story. Okay, so my camera hat went out, but yeah, I just feel like God is putting on my heart to just continue to put myself out there, and that includes, revealing my gifts. And if you aren't aware, I am very close to the spirit realm. And I actually have, because I am a clair, so my gifts as a clair is clairaudience, which is clear seeing, meaning like you could see things visually, like, that's So Raven, where she would see something before it happened, but she didn't know when it would happen. That's basically what it is, clear seeing. Clear cognizance, which is clear knowing. You have a strong feeling or knowing. You don't, excuse me, you don't have any evidence that this is fact, but you just know within your heart and your soul that you know what you're talking about. Clear knowing. Like, you have, certain things come to me. I don't know how it comes to me. I don't know why it comes to me, but it comes to me. And it usually be accurate. I look it up and it be a real thing. So, yeah. And clear sentience, which is clear feeling. So when you get around people and you feel other people's feelings and you just know what people need and stuff, that's clear feeling. When you see somebody is happy, but you feel like they're not really happy, that's kind of a way of knowing that that's another way of saying, empathetic, and you're an empath. That's, empath, basically. It's the same thing. It's, similar. Clear feeling and empathy and being empathic, that's kind of the same thing. But yes, so back to the point of the video. So I wanted to share when I had a channel of my grandfather passing. And this was around a time where me and my family weren't really close. I mean, when are we ever, right? Me and my family's relationship is really rocky, and I choose to distance myself from my family because I just don't relate to them. I don't connect with them. I just don't feel where they're coming from. They got too much going on and I just rather stay out of it, okay? So this was around a time where I really wasn't trying to talk to my family, but I just kept getting a feeling, confirmation, I just kept getting a feeling that something's about to happen, right? This was like a month or so before his passing, right? A month and some change. And I know this is way before his passing because it kept popping up. It kept coming in and coming out. So, like I said, around this time, I wasn't talking to my family. I tried to avoid any conversation. And my grandfather was kind of the only person that I would want to talk to if I would talk to somebody in my family. My grandfather, and I was in and out of conversation with my aunt at the time. But like my grandfather, without a doubt, always spoke to him. Whenever he wanted to have a conversation, whenever I called them, he was the main one I usually wanted to talk to. Because his energy is always so loving and supportive. So when you have a conversation with him, you just feel lifted when you have a conversation with him. So, yeah, like I was saying, around this time, I wasn't really talking to my family, so I kept getting like a gut instinct to call my grandparents' house. And at this time, my grandmother was like, her health wasn't so good. It's still not that good, but my family members were taking turns, going to her house and taking care of her. Meanwhile, my grandfather was taking care of her too. He's past that 93, and he's taking care of my grandmother, who is not too much younger, so nobody was really giving him the attention that they were giving my grandmother. And I kind of felt that, and just by what everybody was telling me, and I just kept getting the urge see me, when I get messages, I hear either myself, right? I either hear myself or I hear other voices, right? Usually that's how I get my messages. If something's being told to me, I get them in thoughts. I either get them in my tone of voice or another tone of voice, but I always am familiar with the personality and the energy. I'm an energy person, so I know if the energy is good, if the energy is bad. Boom. And everybody has this. I want everybody to be aware. Everybody has this ability if they choose. Okay, if they choose to tap into it. But see me, it's in my blood. It's in my energy. It's in my spirit to just be connected to this. So, so at this time, I was getting messages and thoughts to call my grandparents' house, right? Call my grandparents. And I'm like, I talk to myself. So I talk to myself. That's how I connect with spirit. And people always, if you know me, if you've been around me before, like close to me enough, you know how I talk to myself. And only people that's close to me know that, okay? So yeah, I talk to myself. But I'm not really talking to myself. That's what people don't understand. I talk to myself because that's how I connect with spirit. That's how I connect with my guides around me. Because if you don't ask, you ain't gonna get an answer. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I get a lot of my answers, a lot of my guidance by talking to myself. What I want in my life, what's going on, what got me fucked up, But yeah. So I was getting thoughts to call my grandparents' house, right? Call your grandma. I'm like, no. I don't want to talk to certain people at that house that I didn't want to talk to. I'm like, I'm just over everybody. I know they're going to be there. I just don't want to talk to them, right? So I avoided talking to them. I avoided calling their house. And I don't know why I kept getting that feeling. I just kept getting that feeling. Call their house. Call their house. And talk to your grandfather. Talk to your grandfather. And I kept getting my grandfather in particular. Call your grandparents and talk to your grandfather. No. I know certain people there. I just don't want to have any conversation. Even if I want to talk to my grandparents, somebody else besides my grandparents is going to answer the phone first. And I do not feel like having a conversation. Okay? So that was my energy at the time. So I'm like, no, I'm not calling their house. If they call me, they call me, which was rare. But yeah. So I haven't spoken to them in a while. And I also kept, at the time I was I like to do pick cards, right? So when I don't do my own readings, I like to go on YouTube and do pick cards, right? And I'm usually drawn to certain readers, and their readings, you know, we connect, and they usually be right. So at that time, I was getting messages about somebody in my family passing. Somebody that people go to in my family passing, right? And I was going to have to pick up the torch, right? And I'm like, the only person that came to my mind was my grandfather. So that's what triggered me getting flashes of my grandfather's obituary, right? So now I'm like, and it's funny because I knew exactly what picture was going to be on the obituary. On the obituary that I have is the exact picture that I seen on the obituary in my head. So I'm like, so when I'm listening to these pick cards that say that my, you know, somebody and I know in my head, I know they talking about my grandfather. So I'm like, that's impossible. I'm like, that's impossible. That's impossible because everybody's there for my grandmother. You know, everybody is, you know, there to take care of my grandmother. It can't be my grandfather that I'm going to lose. You know what I'm going to say? Like, I'm not saying that I would expect my grandmother, but it was just like, at the time, I'm like, no, that can't be, right? Because they're there for my grandmother, right? So I feel like, sorry, y'all. But, at the time, I just felt like I was in denial. And I always say this. I always feel like I was in denial. I felt like if I would have said something, I feel guilty, like sometimes to this day. I feel like if I would have just called my grandparents and told my family what I was receiving, would have made a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody was really worried about his health at the time. So I'm like, I always question myself, should I have told somebody? You know, should I have told somebody? Because to this day, I feel like, damn, I knew this was going to happen. I was in denial with myself. If I would have just followed my intuition, maybe something would have been different. But I feel like even if I would have said anything, I don't know. I feel like everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like still to this day, even after his passing, I feel like my personal spiritual gifts have heightened. I feel him more on the spiritual side. You know what I'm saying? And they always say, like, when somebody in your family passes, that means you need them on your spiritual team, you know, on the spiritual side, helping you. Because everybody has guides. I don't know if you believe in that. If you don't, I mean, you don't have to believe in what I say. But me personally, just by me living my life and trusting of God, and my spiritual family, you know what I'm saying? I say spiritual family because they've been more of a family than my real family. So me being trusting of my spiritual family, I know we all have people that spiritually look out for us, especially the ones that pass away that we personally know, right? So I started to realize that God showed me certain things in my life so I can know that all of this is real. The spiritual realm is real. God is real. You know what I'm saying? And when my grandfather passed, like I said, I started to see things more vividly on the spiritual realm. Like, I was more spiritually inclined. Like, I was getting more messages. I was able to pick up on things more. And I just felt like that was my grandfather. And every time I see 1010, I think of my grandfather. And I always speak to my grandfather. You know, I pray and I give him words of love and support. And, you know, I send my little ancestor money. And I just feel like God wanted me to see, like, it's time for me to really trust in my intuition. Everything always starts with a gut feeling. Every time I feel like something's gonna happen, I always feel it in my gut. And then that's when I started getting into human design. And then human design really breaks down into what how your body responds to certain things. And they highlighted how I have a strong gut feeling. And I was like, wow, it makes sense because, like I said, a lot of the stuff that happens in my life is because I have a gut feeling. And my grandfather passing, I feel like it made me more spiritually connected. It made me more aware of my purpose. It made me realize that don't take those that you cherish for granted. And if you are spiritually inclined, like me, if you have spiritual gifts like me, it's time to start listening to your gut feeling, listening to your intuition, listening to that inner voice. It always starts with that inner voice telling you, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe this ain't so good. This ain't the path for you. This ain't the people for you. We need to start listening to that inner voice. All the negative, those are from outside forces, okay? Just like we have good energy, good spirits, we also have bad ones too. But that's all in what we feed into it. Okay? Either we feed into the good energy, we feed into the good thoughts, and we get more good thoughts. And that's what I had to teach myself, because I was real bad, negative thinker, right? And even when me experiencing what I did with my grandfather, I'm sitting here like battling myself, like second guessing myself, like, no, this is not real. Like, no, I'm bugging. No, like that was the problem. If I would have just listened, I feel like something would have changed. I feel like they would have at least took him to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And something at least could have been discovered. But, you know, I was second guessing myself. So I feel like if I would have done what I needed to do, and that was what God wanted me to do, which was call my grandparents and ask my grandfather how he's doing, and slip a little bug in my, in my family's ear. Listen, maybe you need to go check him out too. But I was second guessing myself, right? But I'm not second guessing myself no more. And I feel like even him on the other side, he's rooting me on. I'm trying not to get emotional because he was basically the only person in my family that I felt like didn't have no judgment with nobody. My family is so judgmental. So judgmental. And I try so hard not to be that way, but sometimes it comes off that way. But I just want good for everybody, and I feel like I be knowing what people need. But not everybody. Sorry if I'm getting that white stuff on my lip. So I'm like checking my lip. But I feel like I know what people need, right? And I just feel like I need to focus on what I connect with, what my intuition wants me to connect with. And I want people to understand, if you also have that kind of feeling in certain situations or with certain people, it's time to start listening, right? And understanding. Don't, just because you don't have all the facts, you don't have all the evidence, you don't have everything to pinpoint what is going on in your head, you have to trust in God. And it took that experience, me losing my grandfather, which I've never lost anybody close to me ever in my life, and the one person I lose is my grandfather. It took a lot for me to even sit here and do this video, because how much I beaten myself up because of this situation. And I want people to understand, like, this spiritual shit is real. Like, this is not a freaking game. Like, people think that, oh, okay, psychics are fake, tarot readers are fake. Yeah, and there are some fake psychics, and there are some fake tarot readers. And there are some fake spiritualists, just like there are some fake niggas. And there are some fake bitches. There's fake everything. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's not fake. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to connect more into spirit if that is what you're called to do. If you're called to listen to your spirit, it's time to do so. I don't want to go through another experience that, you know, kind of set me back emotionally and mentally, which is why I feel like I was called to, you know, put this story out. But I just want people to understand this spiritual shit. Let me break it down for you. This is not a front. This is not for amusement. This is not for my entertainment. This is my real life. Okay? So when I say certain things, it's not because I want attention. It's because I'm getting called to say things. I'm getting called to do certain things. And I don't know why I'm being called to do it, but I'm being called to do it. Okay? And I just hope that you learn something from this, from my experience, and just start understanding that you may not understand everything or everyone, but it's good to be open, right? It's good to be open and willing to learn and take in information that we don't know. So I don't know how to really end this video, but I hope that y'all was intrigued with my story, I guess, and y'all look out for the next video. I'm not going to contradict myself, but we gonna get in the motion of this. We gonna get in this motion of the YouTube stuff, okay? And please bear with me. I love you guys, and bye.